Let's get to our panel now. Joining me, Eamonn Fitzpatrick and David Gazzard. It's an interesting time, Eamonn, in Washington, where President Trump is facing one of the first splits of the MAGA movement. That's over those Epstein files. Quite interesting to watch from afar, Eamonn Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, look, that's right, Kieran. And I think, there's a real human element to this, which for me, just, I think that's the real sort of potential to sort of really kick this along. I was watching Sky very late last night, early this morning, watching that extraordinary media performance where you had congressmen and women coming together. You had some of the women who've come forward. And, that is a real potent, seeing that they could literally, I think, move things along very, very quickly. And I think you have to counter to that with, what we've seen the president doing at the moment with the Crown Prince and some of the extraordinary things he said, including how he's referred to, that awful murder of that journalist. I mean, God, you sort of, it's a sharp intake there when he talks about it in terms of, well, sometimes things just happen. I mean, that is extraordinary. Look, I think, you would have to say what a difference 24 hours makes. And, look, he's in a very strong position. I don't think anyone's doubting that. But this is significant because we're seeing the first real sort of fracture now. It's a big, big fracture from within his own people.
Yeah, still very, very strong position, David, no doubt about that. But it's just interesting to see a little bit of a fracture there, because nothing in politics stays stagnant, does it? And this certainly isn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Kieran. I mean, you're heading into the midterms. It's the president's second term. Dynasties sort of rarely work. You've got people jostling under him now. You have to say this Epstein guy has managed to spread, this is a bad term, the love across both parties. There are people in Washington, in the monarchy, running and hiding. There's a lot of guys going silent and very, very deep at the moment in both parties, because he has had a touch on both parties destructive. And you're also seeing the playing out of partisan political appointees into the court and across a whole range of institutions that are pushing to get these documents out to damage their opponents. So a febrile time, absolutely.
Gaz, on the Liberal Party at home, it's been febrile as well. What's your read on where things are at? Is Susan Lee starting to get a bit of equilibrium, or is it uncertain heading into next week, the final sitting week of the year?
Yeah, uncertain is probably, putting a very benign term on it, Kieran. I mean, you hate to sort of see this, but the animal spirits are out. There's discussion in the paper every day on leadership. You are looking at every poll now, and news pollers in the field this weekend. You get the feeling that a lot is hanging on that for both the Liberal Party and Susan Lee. Clearly, if she has pulled the right rein on net zero, and there's support for that in the community, and there are some signs of that with the government walking away or starting to walk away from COP, starting to get really, really concerned around the cost of the transition, around things like aluminium smelters, where they're throwing a lot of subsidy at that because they know how devastating it will be to have another large manufacturer walk away from business because of high power prices. But you get the feeling there's a lot riding on this weekend's poll and where it's taken and the sample size, and they'll be hoping for some good news out of that come Monday.
Eamonn, only 30 seconds left. Your thoughts quickly?
Yeah, look, I mean, I was the senior press sec to two prime ministers. It was my job to relay early poll results out of the papers. And, for all the words people say, they do pay attention. It does matter in the party room. I don't see how Susan Lee can communicate a clear message on any policy whilst the story of the day remains whether she's fit to be leader. And a question from her own party.
Eamonn, Gaz, great to see you both.